Today in the podcast, spring fundraiser. Hello.
So this is a special RIOT podcast where we're going to pick a year, and you get to hear some of our older RIOT clips from that year.
Yeah. You'll begin to hear trends emerging. Here's 2009, and here's a break that says it's called The Gift of Diet Coke. And what you'll find is you'll begin to see my dependence emerge.
Of Diet Coke?
Over the course of the years.
Dependence, trying to cut back. Dependence, then cutting it away.
Okay.
Like, it's been with us for quite some time.
So here's a few. Severe vomiting syndrome. Nikki's future as a cat lady. Fried Buckeyes.
Hey.
For the very first time. And how about this? Nikki talks to us about Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Really?
Not the movie.
Oh, but the book.
The book.
Oh, I love that book.
Not the movie, but the book.
I didn't care for the movie as much, but like, what a trip back. Like, before the movie, the book. And that book took forever for them to finish into a movie.
Now, let's see if you remember this. The other thing in the podcast today, do you remember that time that lady pulled in front of all those people at Donato's for the drive-thru pizza?
And cut in front of you?
And me and like 7 other people?
Yes.
That story's in here.
Every time you start talking about something that goes wrong, I always think back to this one.
It's a crazy one,
So enjoy this special 2009 RIOT podcast while we're doing our RadioU Spring Fundraiser. So please think about considering donating. It takes a lot to do, not just the RIOT, but RadioU, and we're commercial free. So if you want to support and help out, check out RadioU.com this week and donate something.
It is the RIOT.
The spring fundraiser isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, which explains why Obadiah repeatedly collapses from exhaustion. The RIOT on Radio U.
Nikki and I have been very, very tired this morning. Very, very tired.
I know, it's a shock, right?
And just like the man going to the bank, he's like, oh, Lord, if we could just move to Florida. $176,000. Woo! I went in to I've drank all my coffee. It's gone. It's gone. It's empty. It's empty. Like, listen. Hello.
You gonna cry? Are you okay?
And I don't even know if I could stomach. Nick's like, brew coffee. I can't.
You don't want any more?
I'm coffeeed out. And so then I go to the refrigerator. I'm getting water, and I just decide to look in our fridge, and then I just spied in there, like just a little, like, no, nothing huge, just a little something. Just a little something, Nikki. It was a brand new, unopened 2-liter of Diet Coke. There it was. Just like a little bit.
And don't forget the good part about it.
Which was?
There's no name on it.
There's no name on it. No name on it. Not zip, zero. I mean, that is freebies of the highest degree. That is I'm serious. Like, I went in there and looked in the fridge, and then all of a sudden it was just like, what? Wait a minute. What? Did I just hit? Close it. There's something in there. Wait, what is it? Oh my gosh! There is a 2-liter. Yay!
Are you going to open it?
Well, that's where we get into something difficult. Even though, Nikki, it's a smaller thing. Remember, you have to be faithful in small things before you're trusted with big things.
Is that why we don't have a fountain machine?
That's exactly right.
We can't be trusted with 2 liters.
And so that's what I'm thinking is, I mean, you and I right now are thinking like, oh, that's the answer to our prayers.
Yeah, but if we never ask, we could have been drinking this forever ago.
Yeah, well.
Like, everyone just assumes it's someone else's. They don't want to be rude, and it just sits there.
So you're saying it's like, I mean, it would be rude not to drink it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Because it could just legitimately be a free one.
Well,
and if we drink it all,
then there's no evidence.
One drink. Well, we didn't see a Diet Coke. You can even take the trash out and no one knows.
What I was thinking, we could blame it on the weekend people.
Yeah, be like,
some weekend DJ drank it all.
We are sending an email now.
That is
rude.
Sick. What is wrong with you? Can't respect other people's property? Oh, I mean, seriously, why would you know what? Why don't you just go ahead and pack up and go? Oh, you don't even have it. Don't worry. Just go.
Just go. We don't need you.
Well, I thought the other thing would be is we could look at it as a loan. We could go ahead and drink it, and then after the show, I could go and buy another 2-liter, and we could replace it. Nobody would need to know.
But there's no name on it.
I see, Nikki, that right there, that might be the heart of the law, but I want to talk about something deeper. I mean, you're talking about the letter. I want to get to the heart of it. I want everybody who had something to get what's coming to them. I just want to borrow it. I just want to borrow like a couple of cups out of your 2 liter.
How about we do this? We'll take a couple of cups. We'll add a little extra water, okay? And then we'll twist it back on. We'll shake it up, put it in there. No.
That's a great idea, Nikki. It's a great idea. We'll just go ahead and do it that way. And then your way, pretty soon people are like, you know what? I had a little bit of Nikki's orange juice, but I spit in it, so it's...
Hey, I didn't say spit it back out. I said just fill it up with water. It's part water anyway.
I just wanted to get the taste of it in my mouth, but I spit it back in there.
The Riot is made possible by two things: your donations and buttercream icing. It's the spring fundraiser on Radio U.
It is the Riot, 8772 Radio U. Now, this is likely to make Nikki a little unhappy, but I do want to say that there have been various times in Nikki and I's friendship when I have been concerned about her potentially becoming the cat lady.
No.
I didn't. That was a twitch. What just happened there? Did I mention
so upsetting.
I just, because there was a time when word was spreading among the feline community that you could get a good meal and a place to stay if you drop by Nikki's.
I am too nice when it comes to it because 2 out of my 3 were strays and 1 I found at the shelter.
Now, are you counting Eric or are we just talking about the cats?
No, just the cats. I only have 3 cats, which is not that many, thank you.
How many dogs?
2 dogs.
Any other pets we don't know about?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Nothing else.
So 5 animals and 2 humans, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I began reading about this lady. She lives in Beacon Hill, which is I guess it's outside of Boston, somewhere in there. And she's got a Great Dane, and she's got 3 Persian cats, all of which are now in the safekeeping of the police department. See, the Plymouth Board of Health have been investigating odors that were coming from her home.
Oh, so she wasn't taking care of them.
And her neighbors were beginning to complain about the odors. See, that's I just want you to know, I don't want to ever be the source of complaints when it comes to odors. Now, like if my stereo is too loud, and besides who listens to a stereo? I'm talking a minimum of 5 channels, okay? Come on, really. Like, all right, that's fine. If maybe people are complaining because I'm too happy, I'm living too large.
So
no odors.
Was she not, like, taking them out then, or what was going on?
Well, here's when we start. Are you familiar with the word alleged?
Allegedly.
Yeah. There are allegedly some things that are going on. See, she had to go up here at court because of the odors, and the Board of Health was being concerned. When she came home from that, the police were waiting on her. They wanted to go in and take a look. See, here's the problem, all right? Sometimes she gets a little too attached, and the last time the police were in there, last time, meaning there's been a couple of visits.
Ding, ding, ding.
She had a bunch of dead cats in her freezer, so they had to take those out. And see, the thing is, the police showed up. There are allegations of animal cruelty, so her dogs and cats have been taken away, and now she is alleging that, hey, I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and that's because of everything I've been through before with people saying that I have an odor and my house has an odor. And so the only way that I'm dealing with the post-traumatic stress is by having these animals. They're therapeutic animals. I need them. You can't take them away. And
no, it sounds like she's got a list of problems.
Yeah.
More than just the animals.
Yeah. So you know how sometimes in the movies people are given a glimpse and they're able to say, Spirit, I'll change. I'll change.
Stop it.
I'll change.
That's not me.
I'll change.
No, because the only way is
whose grave is that?
It's yours.
Why yours, Ebenezer?
The only way is I get enough stress from doing the show, and you're the one who makes me into that. Yeah, there you go.
So you would say that if this were you would be like, I need my animals because of that animal I have to work with every day. He's driving me to all new levels of stress. My cortisol is off the charts.
Hey, you said it. I didn't have to.
It's the Riot.
Where does your donation go during the spring fundraiser? Don't worry, it definitely doesn't go to the Riot.
They're not worth the paper I line their filthy cages with.
Help keep the rest of Radio U running by going to RadioU.com/donate. It's the spring fundraiser.
So Nikki and I have been spending some time here looking at various items in the news, and I want you to know that I found what I believe to be the finest news story of the day.
What is it?
If I had an award, I'd hand it out. Now, without any embellishment, let me read you the headline. Severe vomiting syndrome. There it is. That's all you need to know.
SBS,
dude. I want to hang out with somebody who has this because, dude, severe vomiting syndrome. Like, I would be laughing really hard. They would be vomiting like crazy.
I guess we should say this too. If you haven't known Obadiah long enough, he laughs. If you throw up or if you get sick, he will laugh at you. He
worst.
Giggles. It's just
can't
some
help
sort
it.
of coping mechanism.
Go back and listen to the Riot 7th anniversary podcast. We explain it in detail, but it's the worst. Like when Alicia gets sick and I have to take care of her and she's throwing up, I have my head buried in a pillow laughing. And the last time she was like, "Are you okay?" She thought I was feeling sick. And the truth of the matter was that I was trying so hard to control myself from not laughing at her that she thought I was bothered. And it's like, yes, I'm bothered, but in a totally different way than you think I am right now. The World Journal of Gastroenterology, which I haven't gotten my latest copy. Did you? No.
Well, I saw it last time I was at, getting my hair done.
Yeah, just something to read while you're in there. Yeah, the first recognized case of this, and they call it cannabinoid hyperemesis, showed up in Australia in 2004. And what it is a severe reaction to marijuana. Like people who are heavy pot smokers and they begin to develop a syndrome. And dude, it's not like hey, I'll just stop using pot and I'll be fine. No, it hangs for a while. You get to have it for more time. And so, the flip side is you really get the munchies afterwards. You don't have to worry about gaining any weight at all because you're just going to get those brownies right back. Just like that. Isn't that what you're looking for? Woo! But yeah, that's what they're saying. And the other thing is this doctor, Siva Sontanina, is saying, hey, listen, we haven't seen a lot of cases of this. The first diagnosed case of what they have in Australia. They've had several in the United States last year.
So what happens, though?
Well, what do you think happens when you have severe vomiting
someone smokes
syndrome?
pot and then that makes them throw up. So which means, do you think if they walk into that part of town, where it just kind of smells that way, they just start hurling?
This one particular case in Nebraska, here's how it works. The man had been smoking marijuana daily for 6 years. Here it comes.
Daily.
Here it comes. This is awesome. This led to bouts of vomiting that lasted 2 to 3 hours a day. Hey guys, I'll be back from noon to 3. I have to vomit. Oh, okay. Well, no, that's funny. What are you really doing? No, seriously. It takes me 2 to 3 hours to throw up.
It would be a great way for cops to find out who is smoking it.
And it was worse after meals.
And he's not stopping?
Well, Nikki, do you think maybe at this point he might have a problem? Do you think that might go
6
beyond
years
severe
later,
vomiting syndrome?
Dude, he goes to urgent care and has to describe what's going on.
So I've been smoking pot for the last 6 years, and recently, or no, better yet, he's just like, I can't stop throwing up.
Yeah, he wouldn't say anything about the pot until into it as they during tests is like, well, it could be that.
You have we took your x-rays and there's like a little marijuana plant in there. It's growing inside you. What is that? Yep, severe vomiting syndrome. Sweet!
SBS.
Oh, dude, 2 to 3 hours of vomiting a day. I don't think I could take it. I'd be laughing so hard that I'd just be like...
You'd have abs of steel man, though, from the workout.
We can't be friends anymore. I have to leave.
During the spring fundraiser, the Riot works twice as much as normal. Of course, for them, working is still just sitting in an air-conditioned room, yelling and eating chicken fingers, but still, it takes a lot out of them. It's the spring fundraiser on RadioU.
It was here on this show that we discovered the fact that Jane Austen was, in fact, a zombie hunter. Killer. She protected people, all right? It was about protection. And Nikki and I have been very curious about it ever since. And during Unleash, it arrived.
I got it. It's a new book, and some people don't even believe it's real.
No, it is real.
It is real. No, I have it. It's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Well, okay, wait. When we say real,
we mean it's a real book.
The text exists.
It does.
Not that it necessarily happened.
They're actually going to make it into a movie, so it's currently being rewritten for that. But it's the story of, and at first I thought Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was a book about Pride and Prejudice, and then in between the chapters was a zombie story that kind of went through it. But it's not really like that at all. The zombie story is the whole thing through Pride and Prejudice. So what happens is in England, they have this mass infection of zombies, the undead or whatever, and they come up, and it is hilarious. Like, if you're a Pride and Prejudice fan, you'll know Charlotte. She's one of the characters.
Well, yeah.
You do not. Don't lie. She's Elizabeth Bennet's friend. Well, her family used to be very wealthy because they created clothes for funerals for the bodies to be in. But, like, in the story, they're like, now they don't have any money because no one wants to spend extra cash because the dead will, are just going to tear their clothes as they get out of the graves and stuff. Like, it's hilarious. It's so funny because when you read this,
you're just going to tear it up anyway.
You're reading Pride and Prejudice, but they reworked the story. So all of, like, Elizabeth Bennet and all the sisters, they're all master fighters when it comes to zombies because they can't find husbands. And so the father at least wants them to know how to defend themselves against all these zombies. So they're trained in, like, Kyoto or something, all this master martial arts. And so they go to a ball and the zombies attack. And so they have to form this star to then weed back out into the ballroom and start attacking all the zombies.
I'm not going to lie to you. That sounds freaking sweet.
It's really funny. It's so
that
funny.
Sounds freaking sweet.
Because I just appreciate the humor in it. And it's just like, wow, really? And so Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, well, Mr. Darcy likes Elizabeth because she's such a strong fighter and such an independent woman when it comes to fighting these zombies who are attacking.
See, here's my thing is, like, I've never read Pride and Prejudice. I've never seen any of the movies.
I think you should watch it first. I would even say you should read it first because it's so much more weirder when you add the zombies into it.
I was just going to say is that what would happen to me was I would read that and then I would be like, I would try to sit down and be like, now, wait a minute. Now, they've cut all the zombie stuff out. Like, why did they do that?
Why did they do that? Well, you will totally eat this up. Like, they did a really good job. And I'm only just starting the beginning of it. I haven't had a chance to really get through a lot of it. But they weaved it in very nicely. I know they're going to try to do this for more classic books. So they'll find classic books and weave in unique storylines to it to kind of change it up. So you never know what classic will get kind of this twist to it. But, yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Wow.
I will read this many times through.
I am continually fascinated by the idea.
It's a unique idea, isn't it? And I know you might not like zombies. I think they're funny because we laugh at them.
I actually think zombies are terrifying. They're like the only thing on film that I think is scary. After I read World War Z, I laid in the floor and wept and shook. It was just too freaking scary.
That's not the type of zombie for these. These are a little bit different. Like, they, they're slower, but they do attack. So you can't go running around the countryside because,
obviously
the zombies and the militia. If you read Pride and Prejudice, you hear the militia a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they're there because of the zombies.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to keep them away from the ball.
I still like how in the beginning they're like, the house is lent at last. And if you read Pride and Prejudice, you know that line because it's Mr. Bingley. Well, Mr. Bingley's not very good at killing zombies.
So weird.
The zombies were at the house. It's very odd. It's very, very different. Very weird.
Well, I've got a long car ride coming up. Going to Nashville.
You need to borrow it. Like, I'll bring it so you can read it, or you should buy your own. It's only $7.
Don't touch mine. Just get your own.
There are many rewards for donating to RadioU, but the greatest of them all,
And here comes the best part.
is that the riot will be quiet.
Relax and enjoy yourself.
For a little bit anyways.
The request lines are now open.
It's the Spring Fundraiser on RadioU.
All right, this is it. This is it, Nikki. We found it. We found it. You know how every year Nikki and I go to the state fair?
Yes, we do.
And every year there are certain items that we get. We get some fried cookie dough. And last year, did you? Okay, no, I went back in the afternoon. That's right, because we were there during the day, and then we went back and did other stuff in the afternoon. Because I remember when I came back in the afternoon, I ventured out and tried some things, but you weren't around for it. Because we did the deep fried Snickers, which was
actually not bad. It was better than I thought it was going to
The
be.
one we didn't care for too much was deep fried Twinkie.
No, that's no good.
But we always do fries. We do stromboli, turkey legs.
We take about $30 to the fair
No,
with us.
we have to take more than that because we always run out of money.
We spend way too much
And
money on
no,
it.
we don't eat everything that we get, but we have to try it.
Yeah, it's the sampling.
Yeah.
We kind of share it, whatever. But okay, listen. I found there's a new item at the fair this year, and they're usually trying to, come up with some new whatever. Deep fried Buckeyes.
Oh, you're going to love that.
That?
Oh, yeah, you are.
Welcome to my world, Grandma.
Ew.
See the name tag right here.
If you don't know what a Buckeye is, it's basically, it's kind of like a circle of peanut butter, and then it is covered in chocolate to kind of mimic a Buckeye, which is a nut. Because believe it or not, if you're saying, how does someone not know what that is? There are
people
tons of
who don't
that
know.
don't know what that is.
Especially there are people, for example, like when I met Alicia and I was like, hey, I'm going to send you some candy Buckeyes because she was attending college in Idaho. And she's like, candy what? And I was like, well, I don't know if I can see you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this relationship may have just come to an end. So I sent her some. She's like, oh, these are just open-faced peanut butter balls.
That's
and I'm
it,
like,
yeah.
dude, come on. But in the
Deep fried, though? That sounds actually really good.
Exactly. All right, listen, you're taking a lot of my loves. I love chocolate and I love peanut butter.
And a ball form.
I love fried things, all right? And you've collided, like it's all come together. I mean, they're probably like $80 a piece, but I want you to know something. I'm willing to pay the price, Nikki.
As you should be. Did
I'm
they
willing to
say
pay the
where?
price.
You just find where it's at, though, ahead of time. We go to the fair every year, and it's just a ridiculous fight to find the foods that we want to try because it's not at every vendor. If you go to any state fair, it's the same thing. I just want to know, we have to have location before we start this.
I don't know. However, it seems that somebody I know has been talking about it. I'm going to make contact with them, and I will see if they know where they can be found. Because that is true. We burned a lot of time wandering the fair last year.
It wastes time.
I don't even remember what it was last year. We were searching for something. Oh, it was fried cookie dough because we went to the one fried place and they had a big sign that said cookie dough. And they're like, we're out of cookie dough. And I'll have to tell you what, if you want to see does not compute...
And you're like, so does that mean you just haven't put it in yet, or what's going on?
Like, no, we don't have...
Can I come back in 5 minutes?
We don't have any. Like, right.
Are you going to the store?
You don't have any ready right now, but what's going to happen next?
Oh, we're a lot of fun at the fair.
It was a tough time for everyone when that statement was made.
Like, excuse me, what? Mm-hmm.
So here's what I'm saying is Nikki and I, next Monday, we're going to be at the fair, and on the docket, like it just got added, fried Buckeye. I am eating that.
I'm also mostly looking forward to every year we take a fantastic amount of pictures of our excursion. So look forward to that on the Riot blog through riot.radiou.com and of course our Facebook too. We'll stick them there for you.
Look, if Radio U could be funded with Mario Odyssey coins, the Riot would happily foot the bill. Unfortunately, we need real money. Help now by donating at RadioU.com.
It is the Riot. I don't know how I keep finding myself in these situations. It's annoying. Here it is. This has happened to me twice, all right? First time. Let's face it, I'm cheap, okay? I am. Like, if I can save a couple dollars, I will.
Frugal.
So, for example, I order a pizza from Donato's. And yes, I'm using their name because this in no way reflects on Donato's. It's not their fault. I like their pizza. And so rather than paying the $1.50 delivery charge, then tipping a driver, I order my pizza and then go pick it up. It's 5 minutes down the road. I make a phone call to whoever while I'm there, catch up with somebody, fine, whatever. So I go, and they are the only pizza place I know of that has a drive-through pickup window. So I'm in line at the pickup window. There are two ways in the Donato's parking lot. One, that if the drive-through is not full, like you can just slide in and go right up to the window. And then there's another one where the drive-through line winds around.
Yeah.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I was in line behind somebody, and somebody came in like the easy access way. And despite the fact that I was in line, they fully expected to get in front of me in line.
They started their own line.
They did. And so, you know what? I sat there and I thought about it. Like, you know what? Like, there's a lot of ways that I could handle this. Like, I could force myself. I could yell. I could do all this stuff. And I just thought, you know what? In the end, despite the fact that this person is blatantly in the wrong and they are forcing their way in front of me, like, you know what? I can swallow it. Like, I can just let it go, and I'm just going to let them in front of me. And by me choosing to let them in front of me, I I have covered up their disgusting, evil ways because I have allowed it rather than them forcing it in any way. And
but
so
they will not get a wave.
No. There was actually no. I just went ahead and I just waved them in. Like, come on in. Like, go ahead. And you and I both know.
We know what you're doing.
What you did.
But
I just let it go.
I'm actually very proud of you because that's one of the hardest things to do. Because, yes, you could be mature and just let him in and not make it a big deal, or you could just continue going because you're in the right. You're
totally. Well, this circumstance recreated itself over the weekend, and I'm like, how can this happen to me again?
Same person?
See, no, it wasn't. I don't think so. But here's what happened. I'm in line, except this time, last time it was just me. This time, there are like 4 cars behind me, and I can't speak for the line, okay? So
You're letting someone ditch in front of everybody.
I know, and it's like, dude, couldn't this have happened to somebody else? Like, couldn't the lady behind me be facing this circumstance rather than me? And I basically decided, I was like, all right, listen, I can't let this lady in. And it was a woman. She looked to be in her mid-50s, old enough to know better.
Yeah.
And so I just decided that I was like, no, I'm not going to let this lady in. So as soon as the car in front of me took off, she slammed on the accelerator. And I would have had to hit her in order to keep her out of the line. And I don't know if you've checked, but that's not the right answer. And so then I was subjected to what was just, it gets great. A bunch of the cars behind me start honking. And I mean, they were not honking at me,
of course.
Obviously. Then the lady behind me, who's in a minivan, rolls down her window.
Oh, that's the worst. You know something's happening now.
Listen, I will tell you right now. Listen.
She's in a minivan.
I've seen it all, and I've heard it all. I get that. But this woman, I mean, I don't think I've ever been in what is a fairly low-key public setting and heard the F-bomb so many times in my entire life. She began screaming and honking her horn and then screaming some more. And here's what I thought was really interesting was I thought it would be like 1 or 2 screams and we'd be done because that was kind of my thought. Like, all right, this lady's going to kind of...
She's got to let out some steam. All right.
It'll be done. And everybody understands it's the holidays. Stress is high. Oh, well. But no. Okay. I know this sounds made up, but I'm not kidding. It went past the 3-minute mark, the screaming and the profanity.
Dude, that must have been uncomfortable. You're the car in between.
Uncomfortable? Oh, it was uncomfortable. And then it gets better. Then she takes a break and we all move up one spot. Then she just goes ahead and starts over
again.
Hey, I'm talking to you. And wanting to make sure. And this lady's pretending like she doesn't know what's going on. And so I sat there contemplating, what was I going to do? I actually at one point even considered getting out of my car and going up to her window and just be like, hey, you know what? Really not cool. Really not cool. I will tell you, I'm not going to tell you what I ended up doing, but I will tell you, no, I'll save that too. I'll tell you, I did something, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. But my question to you is this. In that circumstance, what would you have done? What do you think was the proper response to what took place? Should I have gone back and hugged the swearing woman?
Because he could have gone and talked to her.
Comforted her in some way. Maybe let her get out in front of me so the net result would have been that she would have at least not had to have waited any longer. I don't know.
I'm curious to hear what you did.
Well, I'll tell you.
You have this look on your face where it's like, this was good.
I appreciate what I did. Hey, whether you will or not, I don't know. 877-2-RADIO-U. What would you do?
The Riot is more than just food and video games. Nikki talks about animals sometimes, too. It's the Riot during the Spring Fundraiser.
It is the Riot's Day of Fire lately. Yes, let's talk about what's happening to me lately. I had a woman that cut me off in the Donato's drive-thru line as if that should matter. But here was the problem, is that
there were people behind me.
That
were
you weren't
very-
the only one that was affected. And apparently the lady behind you was affected even more.
She was,
She let everyone know about it.
Nikki, she was deeply affected.
Don't you feel so awkward when you see people get kind of like lose it? You know,
Yeah.
like they totally lost control over it. They cannot stop themselves.
Well, my thought for that lady behind me was, I looked at it and it's just like, you know what? This is a symptom of a larger
Larger
problem.
problem.
This is not the problem. You did not become this angry about this. This is transference of anger.
This is the end result of a very bad day.
This is
Possibly
something-
a very bad week.
You cooking Thanksgiving for all these people, and all I want is this pizza, or something like that. That's what happened. So my question was, when you end up being the person, and why am I always the person?
In the
I'm
middle.
always the person stuck in the middle. What would you have done? Let's start with Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, we're just living. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm about ready to get into work right here.
Okay, so tell me, what should I have done?
Well, I don't know exactly what you should have done, but I can tell you what my aunt did. Somebody actually cut her off in traffic, and the second she got to a stoplight, she'd just gotten out of some burger joint, and she was driving with the burger in her hand, and she decided to get out of her car, walk up to the car in front of her, and she just smeared it all over the windshield, and then just smiled at her, walked back in her car, and just waved and all right, bye.
So when the second you said
I
burger
know, as
place,
soon
I
as
was
he
like,
said it, you knew.
something's flying, and it's going to be the burger.
Oh, yeah.
Just throw the hamburger at that car.
That is creative. I wouldn't have
lady
enough
just-
guts to do that.
She just throw a
Yeah,
hamburger?
so I'm assuming what you should do then is, when you get your pizza, you should just, smear it on her windshield.
Well, she was in front of me, so she had her pizza first.
You go find her. That's when you track her down. Like one of those scary
Follow
people
her.
where they follow and you just throw it at the front of the car.
She just knows.
Well, then
She
that
knows
would
it's
be when you cut back in front of her.
you. Yeah.
That's an idea. I like it, Adam. Thanks for calling, dude.
And then
no problem.
say thanks to your aunt
Yeah, really.
for being willing to do that.
I would like to have been around for that.
I
To just
know.
be in traffic, you see this lady get out and she's smearing a cheeseburger on someone's window to be like, wow, that's really something.
But then you don't have your cheeseburger.
Yeah, I know. Then you have to go back.
So
But
who
you know what?
loses? I don't know.
No. In the end, it's a moral victory. You get excited about it. Sam, what do you think?
Alrighty, so the lady behind you who's cussing, she's
Yeah.
the one who's really at fault.
You,
She shouldn't be cussing. That's not cool.
Sam, I got to tell you what. If anybody was in fault in that line, the lady slinging profanity needed a hug, not a reprimand. Now, listen, what do you think I should have done to the lady in front of me?
The lady in front of you, what you should have done is, as she was handing the person the money, honk your horn so she gets scared and drops the money.
Okay.
You have to get out of the car and pick it up.
All right, dude. Thanks for calling.
She'd probably just think, no, that's not me. You're not honking at me.
I think at that point she was frightened enough that she would just slam on the accelerator and get out of there, but I can't be sure. Hi,
Leave her
Andy.
pizza.
What do you think?
Good morning, guys. Apparently that lady, she needed her pizza really, really bad.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get so hungry that you just lose control.
Can't wait.
I mean, there's been times where I've just wanted, just run somebody over because I needed that burger that bad or that
Yeah.
pizza that bad.
We understand that urgency. Whether you act
Yeah.
on it, that's one thing, but we
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
feeling.
So, Andy, what do you think I should have done?
At that point with that lady going crazy, you just roll your window up and lock the door.
Yeah.
You got to protect yourself at that point, man, because she probably wanted to kill you too.
Yeah. Well, that's not out of the question. And I will tell you that it did cross my mind that we've read so many news stories on the riot that I thought, you know what? This is how some of those stories started.
Yeah, I would think it's I'm going to get shot.
It starts with something small, but it's not about the small thing. It's about that other thing the person is working through at that moment, and then they overcompensate in another area, like the Donato's line. Andy, thanks for calling, dude.
I'm a police officer, and I was off duty and actually saw something similar happen. Somebody cut somebody else off and then proceeded to get out of their vehicle and pull that person from their car.
Oh, my gosh.
See, when you see someone, like with the burger thing, when you see someone get out of the car, that's when you need to get out of there.
Yeah.
Even if it's not you, just get your car away from whatever
See ya.
vehicle that's going on around. Yeah, because someone
That's
took it to the
crazy
next
stuff.
level.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Andy, thanks for calling, dude.
Bye.
You guys have a good day.
You too. Bye.
If you want in before you find out what I did, what should I have done?
And don't just tell me you sat in your car and drove away.
I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
The Riot, because when I say it could be worse. You need an example. It's the Spring Fundraiser on Radio U.
It is the Riot on Radio U. So let me give you some history. Let me establish where we really are in the middle of all this. I've been cut off in the Donato's drive-thru line twice. The first time it was just me, and I decided, it was a week or two ago, and I decided that rather than making a big deal of it, this person was obviously doing something that was just wrong, but I thought, you know what? Rather than I'll just let this person in front of me. It's no big deal. So I went home and told Alicia, and Alicia's like, you just let him in? It's like, yeah. She's like, well, what about the people behind you? I was like, well, there weren't anybody behind me.
If it's you, that's one thing.
Right. And so then she's built up this situation for me where now suddenly if there are people behind me, I can't let somebody in. I'm not responsible for the people behind me. And my thought was like, yeah, well, that's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So here I am 2 weeks later, as if like it was almost like Alicia had called God and was like, listen, I don't know if you can work something out, but I got this. I want to take this theoretical situation. I want to make it real. So there I am, the Donato's drive-thru line again. And here is somebody waiting to cut me off. Not the same person, mind you, which means that there are at least two hugely irresponsible people roaming my neighborhood right now. A lot of me-first people that are just out there elbowing their way to the front of the line. And so then here I am in that situation. There are people behind me, and there's this woman cutting in front of me. And I could not cut her off unless I wanted to sacrifice my car. And quite frankly, the 5 minutes was not worth it.
You know what? People, they gun it, and so you obviously just can't do anything else. Like, they're just going in.
And the lady behind me, as I mentioned, began screaming in public more profanity than I think I've ever heard in a public place. A movie is one thing, or even guys' night where a lot of games are taking place and there's a lot of profanity flying around. No, like this was out in public, and this lady is screaming.
She's in a minivan.
Yeah, she's obviously a mom. Nobody drives a minivan for fun, and so she's screaming these profanities at these people. I mean, the F-bomb was going off like I was in a war zone. And so there I am in the middle. And there's this lady, and I'll tell you what, like, it was, again, one of those circumstances where I was like, all right, here's my chance. My initial reaction was to be furious, and I wanted to honk my horn.
Shake a fist.
Scream at her. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Someone's going to recognize me. They're going to be like, dude, I saw Obadiah screaming at some old lady. And I'm just like, all right, okay, now what am I going to do? And let me just interject. You probably have an idea as to how I am from listening to this show. When I deal with people, I'm actually not really like that. I work really hard to be kind and patient and all these different things with people. But this lady got me good. And the lady screaming behind me, it was like her anger was just feeding mine. I was like, yeah, we're going to take care of this right now. We're going to get together. And then I thought, okay, no. Now, as a responsible member of a community, what should I do? And I thought, well, it wouldn't be out of the question for me to get out of my car and go up there and just say to her, ma'am, you know what? I let it go. I let you in front of me, but you do realize that you have like cut in front of 4 other people who are waiting in line, all of which are also in a hurry. It wasn't nice of you to do this. And I thought that would not be out of the question.
No,
and
not at all.
What kept me from doing that, because I almost did, is that anytime you get out of your car, and I literally thought, I was like, dude, this is just like the stories we read on the air.
It escalates. The second you get out, she's got
I know. I was like,
she's got something in her car, and she thinks you're coming at her.
Or a gun or something, and she's going to do something to me. And I thought, all right, I'm not going to do that.
And I don't want to read about you.
Yeah, I know. I thought, I was like, man, this is my chance to get covered in national news. Like, something crazy happens at this Donato's. And so I'm just trying to think of, like, what I should do. And this is what I settled on. And I want you to know it so worked. That lady knew that all these people were mad at her, and she was so nervous. So she kept looking in her rearview mirror. And so I was in a rearview mirror. And so every time she would look at me, what do you think I did?
Did you wave?
No.
What'd you do?
I shook my head at her.
No, the silence.
Every time she looked at me, I just shook my head at her. Here's the thing is like I'm trying not to laugh because I'm starting to think it's funny because I'm watching her behavior in front of me because she knows I'm shaking my head and she keeps looking up to see if I'm still shaking it. So every time I would catch her looking up, I would just be shaking my head again. And so for like 10 or 15 minutes, this woman keeps looking up in the drive-thru mirror, and I'm just shaking my head at her every single time that she does.
That's actually very good.
And in between, I am crying. I am laughing so hard because I catch this woman. She's kind of sheepishly trying not to move her head, but the curiosity is just killing her. She's dying to know what is going on behind her. And so she keeps looking. And every time she puts it in drive, she has to, you just by instinct check your mirrors. And there I am, shaking my head at her. And she would see me and look away. And I would see her jerk her head away, not wanting to look in the rearview mirror. And I'm behind her just
See, I like that because in that way, that doesn't escalate it. It doesn't do anything wrong with you. You're having more fun with it. That'll calm you down.
I had a lot of fun. And I thought about the wave because I do have
the little slide or the salute. Some people do the salute.
Yeah, just wave at. I thought about waving, and then I just thought, no. And dude, it was so much fun. I had so much fun. And the thing is, that lady knew. I was having fun, but
wrong.
We really communicated. And that was the other thing is I thought, I'm again, if I get really nasty, she's going to feel justified on something man, those people do anyway. And so I just sat there shaking my head at her, just shaking my head. And you know what? I really enjoyed that. And the other thought I had in between shaking my head and complete anger was, this is going to be great for the show.
Just keep it together.
Keep it together. I thought about taking her one of those RIOT cards we have, but I was like, oh.
You're Monday.
Yeah.
All right, lady.
Monday morning.
It's you. I have to say, I appreciate your response because that taught me a new one. I never would have thought of doing that one. That's a good one.
I thought it was good.
It's still mature and grown up because you can't go down to their level. You just can't. Nor can you be the level behind you of the lady in the minivan.
Yeah. I mean, it was a measured response. I took some time, thought about what I wanted to do. I wanted to communicate, but at the same time, I didn't want to take it too far.
You didn't want to yell.
And so I just shook my head at her constantly. And
20 minutes later, still shaking.
Man, that guy's still shaking his head. It's the RIOT.
What does the RIOT have in common with Spotify? Amazing music with no personality. What doesn't the RIOT have in common with Spotify? No commercials. Keep us commercial free now at RadioU.com/donate.
So I am right now, I think I almost have the photo blogs done. It's taken me a while because, I got to whatever while I'm sitting here.
You just got to get it done.
Got a thing here. Now, let's talk about last night. We drove to the House of Blues, and we ended up going to the one in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, Cleveland, Ohio is an important thing to note because when we got there, we went somewhere first on our way to where we were going. And as I said, a certain member of Under Oath was like, I'm taking a taxi. Who wants to go?
We're going now.
We're out of here. Oh, crap. Interview. Okay. But as soon as we're done, we're going. Inside Cleveland, Ohio is the house where A Christmas Story was filmed. Red Ryder BB gun, you'll shoot your eye out.
That movie that they run on TBS constantly over Christmas time?
I think on Christmas Day they do 24 hours of it. They do the whole
marathon of it.
Yeah, well, that's the one that we're talking about. Now, I don't know how much of the exteriors and stuff they did there, but that is the house, dude. And it was kind of weird because you're just hey, wait.
It looks familiar.
That really is the house. And there's that gaudy lamp in the window. Oh, yeah. It was the real deal. But here's the part that I thought was really funny is you walk up to it and you're like, there it is. Yeah. All right.
That's it, isn't it?
Cool. But I mean, dude, that's totally that neighborhood's claim to fame because you have the house. And to get into the house, it's something like $7 or $10 a person to go through the house. It's kind of like a
museum.
Yeah, the house itself is the museum. You can go through the house and they've got it all done up like it was in the film. Then across the street from that is the Christmas Story Museum. And then next to that is the Christmas Story gift shop. And you think yeah, it's probably just junk, whatever. No, dude, these people that are running that place, they have put money in it to maintain these facilities. It is nice. I mean, as nice as a Christmas Story house is going to be. But,
well, this is the one time where they'll really make their money since it's Christmas. So.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that was amazing is that people hate living in that neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Because we pull in, and it's not a big deal. There's not a lot of people around. We park really quickly because basically it was a couple of things. I'm talking super fast, and we were out of there. Yeah, it took us forever to get back out because there was this steady stream of cars driving past and stopping and rolling down the window
Hey there, look, there's the thing. Wow.
It's almost like, imagine if you had an accident and you lived right next to it where that accident never went away and people stopped and slowed down and looked at it.
And that is exactly what was going on. And it was, I mean, I didn't even live there, and I thought it was annoying. Now, keep in mind, I was annoyed with people that were just like me. I mean, we were...
Hey, you parked, okay? You didn't slow down.
It's true.
I mean, you didn't ruin the line of traffic.
It's true. But I saw the house where they filmed A Christmas Story. And again, it was like, wow, yeah.
But
there it
to
is.
Someone else, though, i.e.
No.
Under Oath, that's totally their
okay,
thing.
that's the other thing. I can't remember the guy's name, but one of the guys from Under Oath was just like, he was next level excited about that house. It was like, oh, did you know that the house from A Christmas Story is like 2 miles from here? Oh my gosh. And I mean, he was freaking out. He was so excited about it. And as far as I know, he went.
Oh,
because
good.
after the interview, he disappeared. And he asked me, he's like, you went. Okay, what time does it close? How much does it cost to get in? So then he just disappeared for a while. And he's like, they close at 5.
Oh,
so
he didn't even make it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I heard him say, I don't care. We're still going. So
the whole band's like, come on, dude. And he's like, no,
really?
I don't care.
Who cares? No. And he was way into it. So, you know what? I hope that he made it. I really do. He must have been a movie buff. He was the only one in the band that wanted Blu-rays for Christmas.
Yeah, so he probably likes it more.
You can assume that was kind of his thing. Now, my initial reaction was, hey, this is like, okay, it's cool, but whatever. I do kind of wish we would have had time to go in, which we didn't. Because I'll bet you it'd have been cool. But I didn't think it was worth more than $5. $5 was like the limit for me.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no, I missed it. Do it again.
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.